Warning, this video may contain spoilers for late parts in the game. If you plan on playing this at some point, turn back now. You have been warned. Welcome back to another Nickelodeon review and the second Fairly OddParents review. I do have to mention straight off the bat that I did end up liking this a little bit more than Breaking the Rules, like I mentioned I would, but I was surprised to find the extent to which I actually did like the game, as I didn't have as much nostalgia for it as I thought I did. I found that I really didn't remember any of the game except the segment where I decided to stop playing back when I originally got the game. Let's talk about the basics a bit first. This game plays almost exactly like Breaking the Rules with a couple minor differences, but I'll explain again because I know some people might not have seen it yet, but the gist of the game is to find 3 sets of 3 stars that will give you an item that will help you throughout the levels, such as a sort of jetpack or a cow costume. This is a little bit different than the first game due to you need to find 5 stars to get an item. These items will also help you get to extra areas in order to get the collectibles, which this time around are stickers and videos. This game also runs on a weird health system, but honestly, you don't really have to care about dying at all, due to there being no lives to lose, but you have 3 hits until you're dead. But throughout the levels, you can find some special clovers which will give you more HP, and there are green clovers to heal 1 leaf, as well as white clovers to full heal in set places in each level. There's also money in this game that can be used to buy upgrades, though the only real one I made use of was the running shoes, which increases the stamina gauge, but there's also more stuff like a star locator, which I opted not to buy due to the game being fairly easy already. Surprisingly, this is all there really is to the game. You can defeat enemies if you hit them twice, if the game had you wish for an item do damage, and the bosses, which I was also surprised that there were bosses in each level, are generally a walk in the park if you figure out what to do. Wanda and Cosmo will just tell you after a while, but I'll be talking more on this later in the review. The story begins with Timmy watching his favorite TV show Crash Nebula before his TV malfunctions. Wanda and Cosmo tell Timmy to wish that the TV was fixed, but their wands don't work. Wanda takes out her emergency wand and brings up an interactive training film which introduces the characters of King Oberon and Queen Titania, teleporting Timmy, Wanda, and Cosmo into the training film to learn how to exist in the game. After completing the tutorial, they appear back in his room where Cosmo reads the TV guide and finds that Crash Nebula will be back again at the same time tomorrow, leaving them 24 hours to figure out what's going on. Somehow they get to Fairy World without using magic, somehow, with Jorgen von Strangle appearing. He tells them that all fairies have lost their power, suspecting that it's caused by the royal jewel that had recently been stolen, being the second most powerful magic known to fairies. He tells them that his main suspect is a jester that was recently fired by the old king and queen, thinking the jester did it to wish for his job back. After fixing all the shenanigans happening in Fairy World, the gang enter a theater where they confront the jester, who chooses to fight. The crew emerge victorious, but find that the jester has no clue about what happened to the jewel. Oberon and Titania show up and task Jorgen with finding where the jewel is, and in turn Jorgen tasks Timmy with getting the ingredients to a fairy-versary muffin. Timmy goes back to his house and luckily is able to order all the ingredients of pixie sugar, mooncalf milk, a phoenix egg, and super strong hair-raising flour online, ordering the last one of each. Through a 1-second delivery guarantee, the ingredients arrive, but each are taken by Vicky and Timmy's parents, who are extreme dicks in this game, as you'll see later, with only the phoenix egg remaining before Vicky breaks it. They go back to Jorgen where he lets them use his monitors. Some of this doesn't really make much sense, but for the first part, they need to relocate the ingredients, and the phoenix egg, just so happens to be in an old Crimson Chin comic, having been used by villain H2 Olga to steal the Crimson Chin's power. They somehow teleport into the comic, and Timmy eventually confronts H2 Olga and defeats her with some sludge and retrieves the egg. The only reason I say this is weird is because this is supposed to be about shows, and they go into a comic, so I don't really know how this all works. The next has Timmy's father's consciousness get sucked into the television he was watching, and Timmy tries to get the sugar his dad took from his robot, with the only way to do this being his dad, though he's knocked out. They decide to go inside his dream, where Timmy is forced to wreck his dream of a giant robot, his dad screaming at him even in his dream. This wakes up the dad, who accidentally reveals how to take the sugar out and depowers the robot. The next destination is to the King and Queen's mansion to investigate the circumstances of the stolen jewel. After finding a peephole, it's revealed that the king and queen are working with someone and are being tasked with leading Timmy off their trail. The gang is eventually confronted by a ghost, whose defeat reveals the king and queen, who tell them their plan of deciding to rule the human world now that they aren't really the king and queen anymore, having stolen the jewel themselves and giving it to someone else. They escape, leaving the team to locate the rest of the ingredients. Timmy's next destination is due to Vicky getting sucked inside a TV show about aliens, becoming the queen of the aliens, whose last planet to take over is Earth. Timmy thwarts her plans and receives the mooncap milk. The last ingredients is with Timmy's mom, who's going to use the flour to make banana bread, with the magic now changing the baking channel into a documentary channel about monkeys, putting a monkey king into the real world who can speak before the channel changes again to a mystery figure who gives the king a prophecy that the humans will try to take away his destiny to rule. He kidnaps the mom and Timmy goes to save her, confronting the monkey and defeating him with bananas and rescuing the mom, who yells at him for fighting a monkey before he gets the hair-raising flour. He goes back to Joe again, who brings out an oven, and they make the fairyversary muffin, being unable to eat it after it's ready because it's too hot. Apparently at the same time, all the TVs of the world are now magic and broadcasting the same show, heading to the TV station of Channel 13, finding that the king and queen are already tied up. They say that they were lied to, the Chamberlain appearing, whose shadow forms into its own fairy. The Chamberlain saying that he magically separated so he could serve the king and queen better, with the shadow saying that all shadows are evil, so he's going to take over the world and make all the shadows wear their counterparts instead of the other way around. After a battle where the shadow is thought to be defeated, he comes back, Timmy running to eat the fairyversary muffin, with the king and queen helping him. Timmy is able to eat it and wishes for everything to go back to normal, forcing the former king and queen to apologize and accept their dethronement before hurrying back to watch Crash Nebula, which is sadly over by the time they get there. Wanda then reminds Timmy that they have their magic again, and Timmy just wishes to watch the episode. Right away, Shadow Showdown beats out Breaking Rules. It's a lot more simplistic, but that takes away a lot of the more tedious sections that plagued the first. It improved upon a lot of the other problems I had as well, such as the audio quality and overall animation quality. The collectibles this time around are a little more hidden, which leads to some nice exploration around the levels. I also think it's a lot more worth it to explore due to the upgrades you can buy this time around too. Now, even though I said things have improved, they really haven't improved all that much. I like the story and Breaking the Rules a whole lot better, but the animation is still a little bit weird and wonky in some parts, which isn't game-breaking or completely awful, but still. I also said I would come back to the bosses. The bosses are pretty god-awful. They're not hard at all, but there's no consequences to dying, so you have all the time in the world to figure out everything, and if you do die, you just literally respawn back. There's not even, like, they don't even regain their health or anything, so, I mean, the only thing is, there's really bad aiming for a lot of the sections. Sometimes it auto-aims, and, like, for the Monkey King, it's pretty bad. They're just super easy, but there's, like, some weird shenanigans that you do, and sometimes you just get stun locked by the enemies, and you just keep on dying. This game is a lot more streamlined compared to its predecessor, which is probably split between people, as this game goes by pretty quickly, and right from the beginning you can literally see where the end goal is, so I don't know if it was worth it to streamline as much as it did. Besides that, it's slightly more enjoyable. Definitely not a bad game, but I didn't see why I liked it so much as when I was a kid. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next video.